that show, I remember when I saw a workshop and I
He wants to explore about five. I was involved. Well, one problem. That they had been overlooked for years. They no longer work. They were eyesore to the community. Right, so they want to know, what is it that you're doing for these studies? Why would I want you on that? That's what you have to think about. Don't just say tree states. Look. Say, if you go around, say you see trees. I get that, you see the around, you see these tree states. And they've been there for probably 10 years. They're rotten. They're broken. They don't work. And they're not so. So nobody's paying attention. Just become part of the background, just drive by and think twice about it. But people who are new coming in, they see that stuff. There you go. Oh, yeah, story. Okay, so what am I at now? This has MM on it.
That's me, Matthew Moranchik. I'm the asset manager for Paragile.
What happened? Did you click something? Uh-uh. Don't know who that is. Looks like he's, oh, you got your mic on, we don't want that. For your controls, there we go.
Really? Eddie, would you leave us in the legislative? Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let me introduce everybody that's here. We have Kyle, our district council, with us today. We have Anna Saunders, our district engineer. We have Brian Mendez, the district manager. I am Bob Wilson, chairman. Kenny Walters is vice chairman. John Smulligan is assistant secretary supervisor. David Francis supervisor. And Jim Levere supervisor. We have a forum here today. Does anybody have some comments to start off the meetings with public comments first? Ryan, anybody?
Nobody signed in or any public comments? None at this time.
Hey, Ken, you want to do your update first?
Sure. Well, we've had our hands full for the last couple of months. And I think it's appropriate that we just take a look at the April report to deal with the loss that came upon our way in February, which was very devastating. At that point in time, the property was really looking good, not just on the common areas, but throughout Heritage Island. So let's just go back down memory lane here to talk about the magnitude of the problem we had in April. We had significant brain damage throughout all the common areas. All the exoras on the bullnoses perished. And since then, they have been removed. The trinettes will require hard pruning, even though they're showing signs of life. The trinettes are located on both sides of Legacy, on the east and west side. They look like they were really dead, but now they're coming back. Just the first 2 days of the cleanup took a couple of truckloads of debris removed from the property. Of course, that was a mixed bag of plantings, which included firebush, ruella, ficus, hibiscus, and exhorers were all damaged. Exhorers all perished. More specifically, just on Legacy alone, the south entrance, we had to remove 45 exhorers. We had 20 dwarf exhorers behind the guardhouse that had to come out. Galindo South removed 10 dwarf exhorers, 10 ficus and 1 hibiscus. Galindo North removed 60 ruella. Camberley removed 4 dwarf exhorers. Savoy removed 4 exhorers and 20 ruella. On Carambola removed 32 exhorers. LeConte removed 40 ficus and 22 exhorers. Funston South removed 1 hibiscus. Funston North removed 40 dwarf exhorers. Quint 6 exhorers. Balboa removed 8 exhorers, 66 ficus, 4 buttonwood, and 6 croton. Sansone removed 18 exhorers. Ingerson removed 5 hibiscus. North entrance removed 12 croton and 4 hibiscus. As soon as the Legacy Boulevard was completed, the parks were commenced. That included in phase 1, they removed 48 exhorers. Those were the ones that were around the pergola in the middle of the park. Phase 2 removed 200 ruella, 6 oleander. Don't know why they were planted because those things are poisonous, but thank God they're gone now. And 3 tide plants. Phase 3 removed 38 ruella and 28 firebush. Phase 4 removed 300 firebush and 5 hibiscus. Phase 5 removed 15 exor. Phase 6 and 7 nothing because all we have are the corners there with the mullet grass. And in phase 8 removed 12 exors. Now for trees, the common area we only had 5 foxtails that suffered frost damage. One of them was in phase 7, which has been flush cut and removed. The 4 remaining are here, out here at the circle, which have been pruned. We have 3 of them that are recovering and 1 of them had to be flush cut. So that's the picture that we were dealing with in April for the frost damage. In irrigation, we currently had a section of irrigation near the front gate along Wickham. They currently had 10 timers on there. That's for 10 valves that are not working properly. Since then, they've been fixed. They did a good job of getting those fixed real quick. We also had some water main problems, not irrigation. These water mains are for the city of Cocoa Water. We had a break way back in the fall on Floristana. They came out and fixed it, but they never fixed the concrete. And then we had another one more recently on the break. Same thing, the valve, of course, was underneath where they had to cut the sidewalk out. And they were more expedient getting coming out to fix it. But in the meantime, I tried to contact people with the city of Cocoa Water. Now that is a challenge. I found out sending emails to the city manager did get attention because it went to the assistant city manager over there. And all of a sudden they showed up. But I found odd the fact that they didn't return an email. But they get it, they farm it out to whoever does the work, and then they come out and do it. So the work at least got done, and they did a good job on that. So Juniper has plenty of work on its plate right now with the frost cleanup and the scheduled regular maintenance schedules that we have for the community. The good news is they were able to augment their workforce back in April with 13 more people. So right now the meeting is in pretty good shape. So moving along into May, we're just about finished with the spring weather now. We've gone from nice moderate temperature back into the 90s. Happened very quickly. So we're in the summer months now, and with Mother Nature, we can expect rain and a lot of humidity. Juniper has been preparing the property with additional spraying for weed mitigation and fertilizer, and are meeting the scheduled landscape services. The grass throughout our common areas appears healthy. I'm talking specifically the common area right now. However, we have a few spots in Part 4 where there are significant bare spots. Juniper is checking the irrigation for coverage. If recovery is not possible, we will need to install new sod there. So let's talk about the highlights of a recent meeting that I had with Juniper, which was last week. The front entrance will be receiving a total refresh with a medley of perennial shrubs and flowers, all of which are frost tolerant. The bed behind the guardhouse will also receive a similar refresh. The front entrance needs to look well appointed, as our homeowners and guests enter our community daily. That is the first thing that they see when they come in here. So it's our responsibility to make sure it looks appropriate. Coupled with that, the new annuals have been installed on the Legacy Point, Legacy Boulevard points, and look very nice. Juniper will be focusing more attention on the following areas: crepe myrtle tree pencil pruning, ligustrum pruning, improving the bed definitions in anticipation of the mulch, which will be coming in September, pruning the low-hanging hardwood limbs, and pruning the hedge line. In the parks, Juniper will be focusing more attention on the following areas. Park 1, remove dead exhorters around the pergola. Park 2, prune low-hanging limbs, improve the bed definitions. Park 3, clean up the bed weeds, remove dead plants near the hedge line, improve low-hanging limbs, and remove stakes. Park 4, reinvigorate the north entrance sod. Part 5, remove dead exhorters on the berm. Part 6, clean up the weeds in the bed. No additional action is required in phase 7. And in phase 8, remove the dead firebush and remove the stakes. So that's a lot of work that still needs to get done. And we talked about that at length. Moving on to irrigation, phase 1 irrigation control system overhaul. DVI is on schedule to complete the overhaul by May 29th. That's this week. Now, as a reminder, unlike phase 3, where the irrigation valves are in the backyards, phase 1 valves are located in the front yards. As previously mentioned, this posed some challenges with the lateral drilling for the conduit install. We experienced some pipe hits, which require repair immediately, while drilling, with the drilling required repair, obviously, and also some pavers were affected, driveway pavers, because they had a bore underneath these driveways, and those are being repaired. Additionally, boring under 2 streets caused some noticeable raising of the macadam. Those are also being repaired. That's on the vendor to make sure that those things get fixed. And there's a list of those, and they're constantly working those repairs, even as we speak. At the time of this report, the final steps is to install the decoders and the required solenoids, following the cutover to the controller, which will go live. As a reminder, DVI configured phase 1 to operate from one controller with the use of the modules that were installed. So this eliminates the need for us to maintain another controller. We're going to be one controller less, which is good. Like I said, they're finishing up with the decoder install. They're putting in the ground rods this week, and they're finalizing the programming of the zones for the final audit, which will occur no later than 6/8/26. So they're moving ahead, and they're keeping it a schedule. It's unfortunate we had some of these repairs that didn't get done, but you know, it's sort of like putting a needle through, thread through a needle. If you're gonna attack something, you're gonna hit something in there, even with the locates. It could have been worse, but I think we're in pretty good shape now. Basic repairs, we had 3 valves in the park requiring replacement due to malfunction. I believe those have been repaired. Juniper has been doing an excellent job with the hard pruning throughout the community. The parks on the west side of the property received a hard pruning. Plants are showing signs of recovery. They are currently removing dead plantings and hard pruning in the east side of the parks. We expect this process to be completed by mid-June. The good news for the CDD is that we only have a few areas in the parks where replanting is required due to positive recovery results. However, the parks require replanting, which will include phase 1 park around the pergola. We're probably going to try to possibly put in some door fire berm in there. Park 5, where the berm is, there's a berm in the Park 5 park that is residence for a tortoise in there, so we can't do anything on the top of it. So we possibly could put some more dwarf berms on the base of it to give it some, some visibility, but we can't touch the top of that because that tortoise is in there. That would be a violation. Right, Bill?
Yeah. Which one are you?
No, it's not a much. Yeah. But what we do have, we have one bullnose left, and it's a corner of Sandstone and Ingerson. So I'm asking the board for approval to not to exceed 10,000 to finish. That will be the last one we do. I think we'll probably get it for about 7,000. So I'd like to move that we get permission to go ahead with the final bullnose.
Who's gonna do that? From scratch?
Yes,
That was a motion from
Make a
Ken.
motion, Kenny?
yes, I move to approve the refresh at the corners of Ingersoll and Sandstone,
Not to exceed 10.
not to exceed 10,000. We have ample money in our.
I'll second.
Second from Joe, all in favor?
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye, zero. John, you too?
I'm sorry.
Are you in favor of?
Yes, I said.
Aye.
Okay,
I have the same problem. You got it.
so that'll be the last one we do. Of course, sometime maybe next year we can look at maybe farming with some plants on some of them, because they're looking a little bit bare, but at least they're clean, they're easy to maintain now, it's easy to mow, we don't have to be trimming them, so we're pretty good shape there. Tall tree pruning. Company called DWC came in here, who is Juniper subcontractor for the palm tree pruning, and I have to tell you, they did a great job throughout Heritage Island, and especially on CD Park. They did the foxtails at the circle, they did all the palm trees that we have, that we're responsible for on the common property. I went around and looked, Bill went and looked. Juniper was all on top of that. So their work was impeccable. One of the things we did was, I was really impressed with it, so we, with the Joint Landscape Committee vote, we sent an email to the owner of the DWC, thanking them for the hard work they did here in short order, because they were really hard initially to do just a tall palm tree pruning. Right in the middle of that, the additional responsibility of the Christmas tree removals and the Christmas tree palm removals and the foxtail pruning was done simultaneously with that. So both efforts took less than 4 weeks. We haven't had that just for the regular palm tree pruning ever since I've been in this position. It's been taking 7, 8, 2 months to do it. So they did really a fantastic job.
Well, that's what happens when we bring the right equipment in.
Of course, they work for Disney, so they're pretty familiar with palm trees. Not any longer. So as we move into the summer months, Juniper has been preparing for the high demand landscape requirements. And we expect them to stay on top of all these requirements to ensure that they deliver. There's 3 things that they have to do. That's quality landscape services, number 1. Number 2, reliable irrigation. Number 3, We want our property looking sharp. 7 days a week. Okay, we want our place looking impeccable. That's always been the goal. So the last joint landscape meeting was held on 7 May. I'd like to go over some of the things with that in that meeting. After 4 months since the frost, and we had to wait a long time before we started really doing anything. We had to see how things were going to shake out. We are now seeing life in many of the damaged plants and shrubs. They've done an excellent job with the recovery efforts throughout Heritage Isle, the homeowner lots, clubhouse, and common areas of the CDD. With spring ending and summer is upon us, the juniper is preparing for the heat and rain. Weed mitigation prevention, spraying is underway. At this point in time, we've already had some days reaching 90 degrees. I think it's here to stay. Special thanks are in order to Leland, Juniper, and their plum tree subcontractor DWC. Business agreement yielded superb palm tree service performance. The entire community received a total palm tree pruning within 3 weeks. It was accomplished efficiently with no debris to remove from the property. That's a record on its own. What's even more significant, DWC also addressed the palm trees that were damaged by the frost, including the foxtails and the Christmas palms. This included pruning back the foxtails and Christmas palms being healthy. And for those palms being unsalvageable by the analysts, they were flush cut. General landscaping. Juniper is back on schedule with the regular landscaping services. The mowing and results have been excellent and the grass has a healthy look. Weed mitigation is underway. We expect the detail to focus more attention on the weed control throughout the property. There has been excellent progress mitigating crackweeds. Juniper will also be focusing attention on the hardwood low-hanging limbs. We've brought this up a number of times, and they are aware of the fact that that has to be taken care of. The requirement is to ensure clearance over the sidewalks must be no lower than 8 feet and 15 feet over the road, which is primarily Legacy Boulevard. Crepe myrtle pruning is ongoing with the detail services. The frontage and refresh is underway. I think the plants are down already, right, Bill?
Yes.
They put them in today.
Here.
This will be a medley of perennial flowers, perennial flower bearing plants, plus some shrubs, all of which are frost tolerant. This will add some color to the landscape and will enhance the entry look as homeowners and visitors enter our community. Work orders are being managed and worked. Irrigation, 45-day wet checks for the homeowner lots is on schedule. At the time of this meeting, we only had a few timers deployed. Repairs are currently underway. The current water regimen is twice each week with a typical run of 15 minutes and usually 20 minutes for the rotors around the ponds. We've already talked about DVI in the phase 1 overall. We expect phase 1 to complete as far as the actual installation to be done by this week, the end of this week. And the audit will take place before 6 June. Make sure everything is operational, up and running like it's supposed to be. Whole business. The next topic for the newsletter will address medicinal plants, plants that you can grow in your own home. And that's going to be putting out that in the newsletter. One of the things that the Joint Landscape Committee does is they work in conjunction with the Architectural Control Committee for those applications that have to deal with landscaping approvals. And I'd like to thank Joanne Post and Annette Mill. They have been thoroughly involved with this to help the ACC determine what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, according to the policies and the standards that have been in existence. So it's been a win-win there. And again, I'd like to thank Joanne and then for their work. New business. Juniper and Leland will be sponsoring a plant sale scheduled on 12 June. There was an announcement indicating that, and I think there'll probably be another email providing a little bit more detail on that. So, in a nutshell, that's kind of where we've been, what we've been doing, and kind of where we're going here, in the near future. Does the board have any questions of what I've gone over so far?
Anybody? David?
Yeah, thank you, the board. Question. Well, page 1 and 3, overall, when you see is the need for other sections, timing, because we're trying to figure out how you're counting this plan. So people
Okay,
who took care of the worst, we advised.
well, we actually have 3 that are in need of the 2 I replaced. We did phase 3. That's done. We're gonna be done with phase 1 by the end of this week. And officially finished by June 8th. So phase 2 would be the other one that's hanging out there. If the high board decides they wanna do it this fiscal year, and for the CDD, we've already budgeted enough to cover phase 2. For the CDD common area. In other words, we have 55,000 in the budget this year. We only needed 23,000. And that was for phase 1. So for phase 2 is a smaller phase. Phase 1 is the biggest. So for the CDD, it's probably gonna be, I'd say 18,000 to do that, or maybe 19. That's if we can use the same controllers there. We have to go with a new controller, that's another 8,500. But for the CD piece, I think we can cover it if they want to go and proceed. Of course, our fiscal year ends on 30 September. The height of fiscal year is different, your calendar year. So I don't know, I mean, to me, if we have the funds available, I'd like to get phase 2 knocked out and be done with it for a couple of years.
We are using approval again for CDD.
Yes,
Okay, so we can get that done.
right. Yeah, we can approve the money for that, as long as we have the agreement. With the,
Right, so CDD takes the lead and then authorize it and do follow through.
that's just for the common piece.
Right.
That would be part.
We already put money aside for that. We saved 1 controller on section 3, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
There's 2 in there.
Well, there's 2 in there.
2 in there.
So we need to get the price.
Right, I'm just based on what I've seen, I think for the CDD piece, it's gonna be, say 21, maybe 20. But I don't know the status of the controller that it is, we have to replace 1. See, those controllers now can handle 225 zones. They're the ACC high-tech model. We're getting the best models that's available out there. Now, for the homeowner lots, there's less homes in here. I think there's 30 less homes. I don't have the numbers in front of me here, but, you know, we can do the math. It's not gonna be as much as we paid for phase 1. But we have the same problem. The valve boxes are in the front. Why the builder put them in the front of the homes, I don't know. The best place for those is always in the rear.
Probably go to swimming pools.
Could be. Could be. So that's kind of where we are with that.
I think it'd be a good idea to get a quote. You know, we've already allocated money on this board. Tyler's been very cooperative on this.
Absolutely.
Get a price on what to request is rather than just string it out.
We work very closely with Ike. Okay, we're in the same family.
Absolutely.
Like, same family, we have same issues that we have to deal with collectively as a group. That's how you get things done in this place.
That's why the general investing is a great idea. Okay, cooperation between the CBD and the higher board and gets things done quicker. You say June 8th is the cutoff date on section 1.
Right.
Who's gonna do the inspection? You're gonna do it with them? or-
No, we don't need to do it with them. There's a spreadsheet that's prepared that shows the zones where they're located with the addresses of the homes. And they'll just go through every zone and make sure
They're
they're
working on paper then,
right. Yeah, but
which we didn't really have.
we didn't have before. So we have a spreadsheet for phases 3, phases 1, and we'll have phases 2.
Anybody else have any questions? Answer your question. Couple of comments on that. All right, so we have a date on section 1 and 6A. So whoever was in there concerned about their property not having water being done correctly, that's the date that it should be final. I really think they've done an excellent job overall. Yes, they broke some driveways. Luckily mine wasn't, but, I understand that they're very cooperative about it. They haven't said that it's your fault. They're gonna take care of everything, which is great. Can be assured that. I wanted to find out about phase 2. We found out about that. The work that we're doing on the corners, we are going to augment it. Hopefully next year's budget will start with some flowers with flowers type up. And that leads me to my next topic, which is this is a very short community. And we need to be very, very liberal on putting in shrubbery and other things and spending that kind of money. Webb is not the only 55 and older community that's going to be going up in our neighborhood. There's another one coming in after that of about 600 homes, and another one on the boards that has been approved. So since we are mature, we've got certain things going for us. If you drive down Legacy versus driving down Del Webb, which I went to see their new clubhouse the other day, it looks beautiful. We've got nice big trees and everything else. So the ones that died, we have to replace like we're doing now. It's going to cost us money. Nobody else is putting up communities that have bridges and parks in them. So we've got a great advantage here. We've got the ability to look better. The parks are a fabulous thing that new communities not giving up the land for that. So we've got to maintain the idea that we may be mature, but we like to look brand new if we can. And investing this kind of money in it is nothing but found money when we're ready to sell our houses or God willing, we can sell them. If not, then our mistakes is something later on. Kenny, thank you very much for the work you do. I was on the board before we had a Kenny. What a difference. We actually get full information. Joe, I thank you and your group for what you do and helping out. And we'll go on to the next topic. On maintenance, did we get Cotton to call in?
Mickey is actually present.
Oh, I was wondering who you were. Do you want to come up here to the mic? Sure.
You guys didn't think to get up here.
We'll get into this. So the big problem we have with the ponds is not that you don't do a good job. It's that most of the community doesn't understand the fine things. You've come up here before and explained them. Now, what I've noticed is that when our water level is high in the ponds, we don't see any of the weeds or whatever their names are, I'm sure, okay?
Soft still.
Right, and when the level goes down, everyone realizes they've got a weed behind their house, and they want more gun. Could you elaborate on what we're allowed and not allowed to do for the entire that particular program?
Most certainly. I conferred with Cotton and my ops team. He simply said, you've got enough beneficial plants that it's not an environmental problem, that if you had a map of the community and simply circled what you wanted treated, we're happy to treat it. It's included in your current contract, problem solved. So They are beneficial plants, the soft stem, they provide habitat, but you have enough that we can put it where it's not behind somebody's house. We can maintain it there instead of obscuring views. So, yeah, he said simply circle on a map, we'll take care of it.
So we tried that before, and we got through some of them that were very, very young. The problem I have personally with it, it's also in the back of my house, so I never said what everyone's complaining about. And it is obstructed because when we bought the house, it wasn't there. It was there, but it wasn't there. It had become a tree at that point. How low can we actually go on those?
He did say you cannot treat it until it comes up above the water. So you can't treat it in the water. So that's why it's like popping up like, hey, that wasn't there last week. Because it was untreatable until it pops up. So
So are we talking 6 inches, 3 inches a foot?
just where the tops of the soft stem can absorb the herbicide.
Okay.
So 3 inches, 4 inches.
So we run into this problem called rain.
Yeah.
And when it rains, that level goes up again, and then it goes down again. What would be the ideal time? I know we're going into the wet season now, which far enough to do it. Is it better to wait for the fall again, or some of it we can treat now if we get it into a?
Well, it's not a budget issue because it's included with your current contract. So if we just know the locations to focus on, we'll get rid of it, before the rainy season.
Okay, so you're saying all of it is in the budget?
All of it's in the budget.
I've never told that before.
Not physical removal is not in the budget, but treating with herbicide.
How long does it take once you treat it for it to actually die?
Oh, 3 or 4 days.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's very effective.
So if we get you and you, when is your next inspection due, which you go down here?
That's a cotton question that I didn't ask him. Do you know when we were here last? Anybody?
I'd say from email, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so this week.
Okay, can you get that on the schedule to be done then?
I can. If you give me a map, sir, we will hit it hard.
So we just gotta get them.
Let me finish.
Oh, okay.
Do we have that?
We could, I'll send Gio to basically walk around the ponds and take.
Okay, well, some people in new areas, which were already the old areas, start off that first. Because
Fantastic.
they don't pop up even if it's based on.
Right, it's whack-a-mole. Right? Whack-a-mole?
Exactly. Exactly. Go ahead, Jim.
Yes, ma'am.
And my question was, if you're there looking at the ponds and treating the ponds anyway, why would you need a map? If you see any that are above that can be treated, just treat them.
Well, that would,
Curious.
that would eliminate all of it that we could see. And we have to have a percentage according to the, I think it's the St. John's Water Management District or the environmental protection people are like, look, you need 5-10% of beneficial plants out.
So therefore, wouldn't you determine that when you look at the pond, if it's behind someone's home and then you treat it, and if it's not, and it's gonna provide the percentage you need, you leave it alone? I mean,
Well, not everyone complains about it. Some people are like, hey, it's fish habitat. It's great, so we don't want to kill the beneficials unless you want us to. How about that? So we'll a la carte it based upon the community's desire.
the homeowners, let us know.
Yeah, the homeowner's just like, hey, get rid of that. Yes, absolutely.
Can you confirm what that percentage is? Is it 5%, 10%?
I will give a confirmation email to Brian. Every water management district is different and I have 3 of them, so I'm going to clarify that for you.
So just to clarify some of the things you said, St. John's Water Management. So we can't go in here and drive it all out.
You can't eradicate 100% of the beneficial plants without them going, hey, replant time. So,
Well, replant it would be okay, it'd be another 10, 15 years. Fining would not be okay.
the fines, yes, the expense of the fines and the replantings would be, yeah, so.
Oh, my, well,
So, sorry.
Okay.
What percentage are we now?
They look fantastic. I think
No, my question is, how does the board know what percentage we're at? If we're at 25%, and you say we can go all the way down to 5%, I mean, how are we measuring it? How do we know where we are?
Well, we can do that assessment. Cotton told me that all the ponds are very helpful. With the exception, and he told me to mention this, the smaller, shallower ponds do not get movement from the wind. So he said a incremental aeration program would help those smaller problem ponds because they need to have movement. The wind's going over them and they're stagnant, and stagnation is the enemy. So 1 or 2 aeration systems a year, they're not that expensive, will help those smaller problem ponds.
Yeah, we went over that question. The problem is, Kenny, that it doesn't rain for 2 weeks, so one of goes there, we roll us in the steps. It rains for 2 days, we're back to 5%. So when they come out, they have to assess that.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm articulating this properly. What I'm trying to get at is where are we currently with all of our ponds as far as we're either at 5%, if that's the benchmark that we have to use,
You're above
Okay.
5% everything.
we're over 5%.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
But
Okay,
how is that, but how is that measured?
yeah, how do they measure
When
that?
you
It's
say
the
5%,
acreage of the pond versus the area of the beneficial plants.
Oh,
And it's not an exact, I mean, we can do it from Google Earth.
Yeah.
And get pretty precise with it. So, but you can estimate, if you circle the plants and then circle the pond, and it's 1 acre, and this is 1/10 of an acre of
sure,
plants.
is that beneficial quantity or is quantified, including those that are, I would say, subsurface, because you can see them. They just haven't broken through yet, so at what point in time do they become beneficial? Are they beneficial when they're below the water?
They're
surface?
always beneficial.
I agree, but I'm just making sure everyone else knows that.
Yes, yes.
And so that's part of the math equation, right? It's not just what you're seeing, it's stuff under the water surface also that would count towards that percentage.
Yes, technically, if you can see it. If you can see it, yeah.
So, do you want to create maybe a percentage of where we're at, and then we could target based on that, what we want to eradicate?
I would do this. Show me on a map where you want it gone, and at that time, we'll assess
Where,
how much of that we can get rid of safely
Okay.
without getting the board fined.
okay,
So each pond has their own percentage, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Bob, can I, have Gio work with you on some of the problem areas? Okay,
Yeah, I think we're all. Coming in today, and there were a few that are, like you said, 5%, over 10%. But it's interesting, it rained for 2 days and I went back to see if their properties, and they were at 10%, and when they were at 5%.
Moving target, yes, sir.
So I hope you're able to come out when it doesn't rain, and I think we'll get some of those things that are bad. But again, you're right, we have to take it individually, which homes we see going bad at that particular time. It's unfortunate that we can't have a schedule to do everything, because everything doesn't have to be done.
mm-hmm.
Right.
It would be easier, but it just doesn't grow that way.
Yeah, and you nailed the variables, the water levels and then subsurface and what's showing based upon water levels. So it's constantly changing.
So 2 years ago, Cotton and I picked out just to fill everybody in, and that's really why I want to get to the tail end of this. 2 areas that we cut down and thinned out. Okay, couldn't rip it out, but we could thin it out. Well, then come down to the venues, and that seems to be the problem. So we're gonna have to upkeep this probably. Every time you're ready to come out, we might have to make an inspection and see which houses are getting worse. It's not that easy, I know it's someone's property, what the hell are you doing here, And maybe you guys can help when they see something that's gonna start up. And make a note of that and send it in to Ryan. Okay, we can keep control of it. It's a major distraction to a lot of people, because this, in my mind, is a mature community. It's been harder to keep the pricing up that we have, because we want maximum pricing to go where we compete. That's gonna be one issue that you don't see in the new bonds. Because they haven't done it yet, but you're seeing here, so we're gonna have to make a concerted effort to control that.
And let me just say, we're at that location, at every location you're talking about already. We just avoid treating it because it's beneficial. So we can treat any of them because we're already there. And that's why it's included in your contract. So instead of avoiding it, we're gonna hit it.
We don't have enough conservationists in here, unfortunately. Got a lot of Northeasterners that say, why's that growing in the water and I'm growing on my grass, So we have to try to control them based on those kind of plans setting in.
Understood, understood.
Thank you
So,
very much.
so yeah, you know, we're looking at every beneficial planting every time we're here because we're going around every pond every time we're here. So,
We don't want to get into the point where it hurts the fish, or we want to get the beautification back as much as we can.
certainly.
You're gonna get that map for right?
Huh?
You gonna get that map for?
So yeah, I'm gonna have Giovanni come out, do like a walkthrough day. Yeah, yeah, if you want, and then he could notate all the areas and run it by you.
We could start with 2903, the Lindo Circle. That's the person that we received numerous emails and pictures from.
Okay, so the guy, so my house is gonna.
Yeah, put her as number one.
I just think the first place treated to be 29.
Take them out and do the whole property, so we'll take it. Thank you for coming today.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Give my best to come.
Oh, it certainly will.
Thanks, Mick, good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Sen, I'll have Gio meet you for the golf cart run.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
On the Brevard County website, you can see it.
So they.
Yes, a couple of things there, Matt is on.
First.
Yeah, Jennifer is.
Okay, Bill, get them out of here.
Yeah.
You guys waiting on me?
No, Bill's about to present and then we're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
review
My job easy here today. You hear me?
Now again.
Thanks for making my job easy here today. Your report more or less covers everything I wanted to say. One thing I do is we have the surveillance, the drone footage of the community and what it looked like around this time last year, and just the major improvements in the grass is very green compared to last year. So all our efforts in fertilizing, checking the irrigation, and all that stuff is really, making a positive impact here. Any questions for me?
No, I went on where I go, which first. Anybody else on the board have any questions for Bill? Thanks, for being around.
All right,
Matt, so your section is up. We're gonna be discussing tab 2 and tab 3.
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks for the water, by the way.
We'll start with tab 2, the landscape irrigation report.
Right. So, as Bill mentioned, turf around the property looks pretty good. I don't see, there are some areas with some issues, but overall, turf looks really good. Once again, I think that has to do with the fertilization timing and the fixing of irrigation and things like that. One thing I just wanted to add to Ken's report, as the crews are, redefining bed edges and things like that, I would request that they also start redefining tree rings. There are some tree rings that are just misshapen, some that are encroaching on the actual base of the trees. Typically, we're looking for about a 3-foot diameter around tree bases that prevents mechanical injury from weed whackers and mowers and things like that. Also, it looks nice when it's all mulched in and everything like that. I noticed item number 7. There is some viburnum that's suffering from, looks like, drought stress. I think it's between Balboa and Quint, along the walking path there. So I just asked for irrigation, just double check that, make sure that everything is working properly. There is a cypress that is along the lake that's between Anza and Van Ness. Not uncommon for them to show a little bit of sign, especially after the freezes and stuff, for them to be slow to come back out. But there were several trees around it that didn't have that had their needles out already. So we'll monitor that just to make sure that that comes back. And then finally, item number 10. Uh, so there was a pond where there has been previous erosion damage that has been fixed. Those areas look pretty good, but there is a new spot in between those two spots that were repaired, that is now showing signs of erosion. So that's item number 10. It's not gigantic yet, but it's fairly substantial. So it definitely needs to be looked at and taken care of as soon as possible. But other than that, that is all that I have, based on everything that's been covered and everything like that already. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Um, I just want to let the board know that you and I had a discussion with Brian not too long ago about the value of this report. And one of the things that I wanted to stress is the fact that when you come on the property, we're looking for trends in the landscape process, which helps us work with our vendor. That we're seeing things repeatedly done, either incorrectly or defective or something wrong, okay? And that's helpful. That's what this report did, because as soon as this report came out, guess who I sat down with? Unicorn. Right? So we have some things that are repetitive in nature, which means that's a process problem, okay? Like the edging around the beds or the tree rings, that kind of thing that you mentioned. So they're gonna be focusing more attention on that. I mentioned it in my report. And we'll be looking for that. The dead cypress, yeah, that happens. We're gonna get that removed. And then the erosion in phase 6 behind phase 7. It's funny that that's the only pond that we've seen this erosion. We've already fixed 2 erosion spots on that pond, and now we have a third one that's in the making. So I don't know whether it's an anomaly with the way the pond is, I don't know. But we're just gonna keep an eye on that right now. I'm not gonna take any action from that. Until it worsens or whatever we do. But anyway. And we do have a high pressure sewer relief valve problem on Legacy. I gotta get a hold of the county. For them to come out and see if that thing is leaking, because it's leaking and it's like a steroid on that grass. That grass grew about a foot tall.
Where's the location?
It's down by Balboa and Legacy. So I will make a call to the county and see if they can come out and take a look at that. If you want to have, I mean, that's the real fertilizer.
You want to take a look at that too, Ann?
Yeah, so you think there's a valve leaking,
It's the county,
part of the forcing?
it's a high pressure relief valve. It's just past the lift station if you're going north. You can't miss it because the grass looks like it's lush, okay?
Okay. And I can let them know. We can certainly send an email into Brevard County Utility Department and let them know that there's a potential there. We've noticed some increase, the landscaping is flourishing in that specific spot
Right.
and suspect that a valve's cracked or something along those lines.
So I'll try to get a hold of them. But yeah, I think we're doing a lot better with these reports, and we're making better progress by looking at it as a process thing rather than a laundry list.
Oh, so a long time we didn't have that. Nobody was talking about this.
Right.
So, so that happens somewhere.
We got control of this now pretty good.
Matt, back to you for the landscape RFP scope of service. Tab 3.
Right. So on the 19th, we just got the finalized project manual back from legal. So on that project manual, it has the project manual availability date for June 1st. At this point in time, that we're going to have to push that back because we have to send it out to publication. Being with the holiday weekends, so it was a shortened week. It's only been a week since we got it back from legal. We're going to need to figure out the time we're going to send this out, and then we work from there to get the actual dates for all the mandatory pre-bid, the bid ranking, and all that. So that right now is to be determined. But I would like to set up a meeting between Ken and my manager, John Toborg, to come up with dates that work for everybody. That way we're not crunched and, everything falls into line in the right order, and nothing is missed. So if we can do that as far as the dates go, that would work out. Um, the only other thing that I have for the RFP procedure is the bid criteria. We want to make sure that the bid criteria is exactly how you guys want to um, uh, judge by point wise on the different criteria that we have set up, which I believe is page 18 in the um, project manual. So what we have set up currently, and like I said, this can change, but we just want to know if this is exactly how you guys want it. This is based on previous project manual. So for personnel, you're awarding 20 points. The skill set and experience of key management and assigned personnel, including the project manager and other specifically trained individuals who will manage the property, present ability to manage this project and propose staffing levels, et cetera, et cetera. So that's set at 20 points. The next one in the list is experience and availability, unavailable equipment, past and current record and experience of respondent in similar projects, similar size, similar budget. That is also awarded 20 points. And then we'll have the next one is understanding the scope of work. Does the proposal demonstrate an understanding of the district's needs for the services requested? Does it provide all the information requested, et cetera? So when vendors send their bids in, we review them and we will make an assessment. The community asset management team reviews all the bids. We go through the list. We go through it with a fine tooth comb. We'll make an assessment. We'll actually send the board our assessments so they have things that they can look at and judge on their own. One of those things is, did they fill out the information correctly? Did they fill it out properly? Did they skip over the fertilization area? Did they miscalculate a number? Things like that. So it's really all the details that go into them creating that contract. We make sure that is exactly how we want it to be done. That is worth 25 points. Price, which is the only category that is not judged, that is essentially put into a spreadsheet, and the lowest bid gets number one, and so on and so forth. So price is worth 20 points, and then the reasonableness of quantities and costs, up to 15 points will be awarded to the reasonableness of all costs, numbers, and quantities. Typically, let's just give an example of mulch. So Juniper has been doing the mulch for how many years? They've done, say they bid for, I don't know, 500 cubic yards of mulch, and that has done really well throughout the community. Everybody's happy with it. There's nothing short. There's nothing in excess. Everything looks really good. Then another company comes in and they bid 250 cubic yards, or another company comes in and they bid 1,000 cubic yards. So we look at that to see how close it is to what's typically going on right now, and see if they've got their numbers crossed or what they're trying to do. So we take that into account as well, and that's worth 15 points. Keep in mind, if you do want to change any of the awarded points to any of these criteria, if you deduct or add any points from a certain part of criteria, you have to deduct or add points to another portion of the criteria to make it equal 100 points.
Okay, so really, the key thing right now for today is the dates when things have to get done.
Right.
So observe the fact that the contract with Juniper right now for the CD is gonna expire on 30 September of this
Right.
year, which is a couple of months away.
Yep.
So we have to work from that date backwards to give adequate time for review. And I'm expecting you to kind of figure that out, what that should be.
Right, right. And like I said, so Ken, what I'd like to do is set up a phone call meeting with you and my manager and myself, and we'll go over the dates. Like I said, we just received the final from legal on this project manual on the 19th. And it was a 3-day weekend. So essentially 6 days to go through it and everything like that. So we want to set up it once we get the date of publication, then it all goes in order. But we work backwards from, like you said. So typically we'll send it out to publication. Once the publication goes out, we have a mandatory pre-bid meeting roughly 1 week after that publication goes out. That's when everybody submits their bids and things like that. Then after that, maybe 2 weeks or so, maybe a little bit more than 2 weeks, we give the vendors time to ask any questions or anything like that. And then should be by your next meeting, hopefully we'll have the bid ranking at the clubhouse, and that's when you would pick your vendor.
Okay, well, the next meeting is in July.
Then maybe it's not going to be July, so it would be the August meeting is when you guys would most likely be picking your vendor.
July.
It'll go to July, yeah.
It's July, and that, we can't change that. That I'm aware of.
No, that'd be 2 months.
Right.
Don't want to go any longer than that.
So I'll jump on this RFP call for us to square away some dates. I'm looking at the publication of when Heritage Isle were able to publish ads. And we basically got till now to the 3rd week of July to finalize the RFP, so a little over a month and some change. Month and 2 weeks, month and 3 weeks if we do it right. We just have to
Right.
coordinate with John Toborg and Matt on their scheduling, so, we can see their availability.
Okay, well, what we need to do this like,
Well, what we need today, to stay on topic, is we need to approve the scope, right? So the project manual that is before you has been vetted by Ken, myself, and Matt. We feel confident in the services that have been highlighted to our property's needs. The one thing that you guys should consider on page 18 of of tab 3, if you scroll through, is the grading criteria that Matt had mentioned. So this grading criteria has already kind of been modified since we've started to do our landscape RFPs. The only thing you would want to consider is weights, right? So I know right now we have a really good relationship with Juniper. So maybe instead of 25 points for the understanding of scope of work, maybe you want to do 30 points. At which point you'll deduct maybe from category 5, instead of 15 points, you would do 10 points. Here, let me help you guys out. I'll come around. So we're on tab 3.
Page 45.
On the
PDF.
This is 1. So bear with me, we can take our time. But yeah, we're approving the scope today. That's the most important. And then all the other things that we discussed, we could work with Ken, Matt, and John Toborg to make sure that we can meet the requirements for the July meeting. All right, so this is where it starts. Okay, you're good.
It's kind of my
Yeah, you're
thing.
good.
Seem to spend a lot of time about the $100 fee for doing it, and if you don't do this, you don't get your $100 then. And it sounds like if we're against the deadline, that's kind of adding a hurdle we don't need,
And
the $100 fee. Is that typical?
I'm so sorry, what fee?
On doing this, everybody has to pay $100 to get a project copy.
That is typical. Yes, that is typical.
And it seems like we're making people jump an extra hurdle. We really want vendors to come in and bid this, so that's just my thought.
Right. No, I agree. I can see where you're coming from, but typically the vendors that you are going to be getting for your property, $100 might be what the account manager might spend on Gatorade for his crew that day.
I
I
understand.
don't think, I don't think that that's a deterrent. Um,
In the
it
grand
really, I
scheme,
mean, it's,
it's trivial
sorry.
to worry about $100, but that's okay.
Hey, now we deal with nickels and dimes.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of money.
No, it's valid.
The document is, the project manual. It is the only vehicle we can do for a contract of this size.
Mhm.
We have to use this manual by state regulations.
Yeah, you're.
Anything that's $199,000 or more. On this manual. Now, 3 years ago, I sat down with Brian. Not this Brian. The other Brian.
Brian Shaw.
And I went sitting with a fine tooth comb to look at the scope of requirements for the Heritage Isle CDD. And those adjustments were made with that version.
Mhm.
And that's the version that's in here now, okay? It's complicated, it's not easy. I got nervous about this about a month ago. I told Brian, I think I'm getting behind the curve here. And here we are today talking about, we are looking to change the date to August. We can't do that. We've got to make this work. So we have a decision and pretty much know what we're doing by July. That has to be.
So for today, all we need to do is approve the scope of service with the understanding we're meeting July's, meeting criteria.
Yeah.
Matt needs to update this on the schedule. So in the RFP, there's like certain dates that they need to meet. So as long as, within that month. Yeah, we probably want to schedule a call this week.
And unfortunately, the assumption is you can't put anybody else in there, can you really?
Correct. Nor do you need to. I mean, again, all we're really doing is making sure that their schedule is gonna be able to meet the requirements of the RFP, or we gotta work with them on what their schedule is.
Yeah, I mean.
So we actually have
Yeah.
when is the contract up with like?
September 30th.
No,
Oh, for.
we just awarded the contract in January with Juniper for Haida.
Yeah.
And that was a tough solicitation too. That took a lot of work.
So it's
That's why day before you. Yeah,
That's gonna be who?
Shouldn't be a real problem here. Fine. Anyway, we're gonna have the same people submitting proposals. Yellowstone, Brightview,
Down there.
Down to Earth, Top Notch.
Clients, the big guys.
Okay, they're all gonna come in. Their proposals on this. I can just about guarantee,
Well, you know what, the farmers is gonna end up with no choice.
pretty much. But we have to go through
Yeah, I know.
what's required by the state.
I thought we were gonna try to put them on the schedule.
We are. We're lining up
So
our
we're gonna get them
schedule.
a contract in January and then we do it in January?
That's correct. We're lining up our schedules with, Haida moving forward.
No, we can't do that with this.
With the new contract, I
This
thought,
contract expires on 30th September.
no, I know, but so for the
And the
RFP,
new one will expire.
The new
They will
contract.
sign a contract with Hyden, and they'll will sign. We can vote on that. So that way it will sign and they're done with it.
well, what we're doing is the new contract is gonna end at the same date that Haida's ends at. So right now, regardless of our current contract, the new one's gonna have,
4.5 years.
yeah, pretty much,
All right.
whatever it is to line up to.
But again, that kind of puts us behind it. We can't really consider anybody else.
You'll have enough.
We already went through the two members, yes, so it's not a good situation.
It's,
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
right,
Mission impossible.
Question.
Oh, okay, yes.
Is there any way we could extend our current contract so we don't end up delaying this whole thing another year to get us in line? Isn't there any possibility we could make it match now? And not have to worry about a new contract until when they're doing theirs?
Well, I think regardless, you're gonna have to do an amendment because Juniper plans on increasing their current rates. Pretty substantially, I think, what, 50?
And then it still makes sense that we can align quicker than waiting a whole nother year to where we have that oddball, we're bidding for it, they're bidding at a different time.
Well, yes, can we extend the current contract without having to go out for other bids?
I mean, typically, once your contract expires, you can do an amendment to extend the term. Typically, if it's silent to it, it'll typically go month to month from that point. So if we're talking about, riding it out until January is kind of what I'm hearing,
It'd be like 4 months.
couple of months. I mean, obviously, your vendor would need to agree to that, though.
Yeah, what I'm looking for, probably saying Davis to say, well, we're never gonna be able to get that with a bad vendor if we play games this way. Because we already tried the two vendors for the same, and it really doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't extend it out indefinitely.
No, but can we do a month to month until the end of the year?
Yeah.
No, when it's gonna be in January, you're gonna go through.
Got
Yeah.
3 months, Dan.
Yeah,
3 months.
I think it's doable. I mean, your contractor would obviously have to agree to go month to month, but I think eventually we will have to go through
If
this.
Turner doesn't have a problem, the state have a problem, that's sort of kind
I think we'd be okay just for a couple of months, but I think we do need to go through this RFP process. Because this is, if the contract is expiring, it's a large contract,
of.
so.
Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Mike, no.
everybody's saying you think it's already long, so ideally. We don't want price increase first place. And I believe the contract behind all those 4 years, we got balance for any reason or other reason.
Sure.
So it's not really a 4 year. I believe we could, we went to Jennifer and we said, look. We're happy with what you're doing, but we weren't really look at this thing a little bit harder, because we have to because of the terms, this July 800. Can we do 4 more months, just extend to December 31st, and if you guys just keep price static 4 months, then I think financially that obviously looks good, and I think if we can do that, we should do that.
I would think they'd be willing to do that rather than us taking outsiders besides them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, eventually you will need to go through this RFP process. You may want to, I think Chisholm's already left, I don't know.
But we're just right in front, exactly like we're talking here, we like them to coincide.
Yeah,
I mean, we tried a two vendor situation, it doesn't work. One vendor is best, but I don't want a vendor to have a kitchen sink hanging over us and you've already got us got the potatoes type of thing. So I'm going to be able to negotiate that, just like Davis. I mean, we've already got the 60-day option, yes, I'm contract out there, but that's not the right way to do business, So can we make that proposal legally to them? I was concerned that Tallahassee had a rule or something. Because we've got such a rule.
no, I mean, it would be good to have an answer from them at this meeting, because otherwise you're pretty much at, if they're planning to not pursue that, we need to go through this RFP process to get somebody else in there probably by the next meeting in order to meet.
Would it make sense to make a proposal and have Ryan, actually Ryan, I guess, present to that would like to extend the current contract in January?
You can make that proposal, yeah.
Okay, and then at that point, we'll do the RFPs and negotiation, everything.
Yeah, I mean, so just so I'm clear what we're talking about, extending the term of the contract for a few months, going through this RFP process, in January.
That
Work to work.
it should be good for them too, that way there's really, the whole community is under one date.
Right, I mean, obviously, when you're going through this RFP process, the winning bidder, you will be basing them on the criteria in this, so, you don't know who it's gonna be until you get those shirts in. Obviously, we need to go through that process.
Well, what Brad did was worse because they were near some excuse permits, they could have made a decision, yes, you know, this one can't.
The community motion?
Well,
That's what I'm doing.
I need some clarity here. So what is the resistance about?
Well, I would profess to do a make a motion to do it for the board money, you would have said. The current contract that we have, which you refer to expired the same date that the new contract, well, the new contract kicks in with the high.
So I just need to understand here, because you're going through the RFP process. Your new contract, which would be in the RFP process, will end at the same time.
No, we go through the RFP, maybe, we have like July meeting, August, September, maybe September meeting.
So,
No, but let me get
That's
this.
another current contract to extend to the end of December.
Right, but why? Because your contract's gonna end for landscape service the same time that HIDA does, because they got what, how many, 3.5 years left in your current contract?
So, Brian, what we're trying to accomplish is, hire essentially, that has a 4-year contract, right, that it can be terminated with 60 days notice by the party, for any reason or no reason, so it's not really a 4-year contract. It's a 60-day contract.
Sure.
But we have pricing set in, that this is the pricing continues. But what we're trying to accomplish here is, we still going to do RFP, but we're trying to move the timeline from September to December 31.
Okay, because you want more options, is that?
No, all the contracts are on the side.
We're trying to get both contracts on the same schedule.
But you want,
When the contracts line up, the RFPs will line up.
so,
That'll be easier
so,
for all of the bidders to bid. And it'll be easier for HIDA and, CDD to work together to pick the best contract. So it seems like we built our own problem in, and the solution is to let us
Extend.
extend our contract for 3 to 6 months.
terms.
And basically the paperwork will be done, the proposal, so forth,
But
we'll be ready to go.
so why not go through the RFP process now and just have the contracts? start?
Because it sounds like we're up against the wall and we're not gonna get it done. We're only gonna have one more board meeting in July,
Sure,
and the decision will have to be made then on those contracts. And it sounds like that we've kind of
I
backed ourselves into a corner.
I
Just my thought.
don't really see a problem with, as far as timing wise goes, with approving this
Okay,
contract or this RFP in substantial.
okay, I just, personally, I think it seems more convenient for everybody that will be involved to have the same start and end date on both contracts.
When it is, it's not only good for a certain amount of time, usually. But,
Joe,
so once they do, and they give you a price, they say it's only good for so many days.
It's, I believe it's in the package, it should be 60 days or so.
So that by we're extending the current one, we're extending that process, so a decision doesn't have to be made. That's the purpose, not having to make a decision.
basically, they really don't have problems.
If I'm understanding this correctly, we want the new contract to kick in January, correct? So why not approve this RFP in substantial form? You know, we have, what, till the next meeting is 3rd week of July, so you have about a month and a half there. You approve this in substantial form, you know, Matt and Brian and Ken can talk and, you know, get that timeline figured out. But I think the RFP process, you know, it can be done in, you know, 30, really you'll need 30 days statutorily, I believe. So I think there's still some leeway built in to get this done by the July meeting. It's just a matter of figuring out, you know, when we want a, you know, a pre-proposal or a pre-bid meeting, so all the vendors can get the, you know, scope of.
That's why we just started our contracts in January.
Yeah, we could potentially extend you to around.
We have to get driven, agreed.
Correct.
And what do we do if they don't?
So I'd like to make a motion that we extend the current contract with Juniper to the end of, I guess, the end of December.
Second.
All in favor?
This will be,
Let's get something.
just a little bit more on this. We're still gonna have the issue of the funding issue fiscal year with this. Because if we award the contract on 1 January of next year, the funding for that is only gonna be for 9 months. You with me?
Yes. Yeah, but
Because
when do
we only have fiscal year money for that 12 months for that, so then you'd have to have money in the next fiscal year to cover those 3 months.
Right.
So the next fiscal year, we probably have to do 15 months. Or find a way to fund those 3 months.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think we can do that.
I think we should do that.
Because the money will be there either way, we spend the money, figure out how to fund it on the following year or not, because we've already done the budgets. But I knew this was coming up when we funded it. Instead of the long price. So can we figure out funding for the 3 extra months that we're asking Juniper to stay on? Not this year, but next year, because we already have a budget for the next 12 months.
Well, this year, we could
This
probably,
year, we've already got.
well, you're covered for next year too. Your next year's budget includes the increase that they had kind of given us.
Kenny saying it's only gonna be a 9-year budget.
9-month budget. Well, what he's referring to is our current schedule, right? So the issue is regardless, you're not gonna be able to get around the fact that you have a fiscal year from October 1st to September 30th. So you'll always have a discrepancy of those.
We could base our money any which way we want, once we do our budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's all that matters is within that 12-month frame, regardless of the fiscal year, how much money do we need? And currently we have that.
Yes.
Yes,
We got that.
we got it. Yes, yeah. The only thing you have to consider, the last time we took Juniper from month to month, they increased us substantially.
Well, we'll have to tell them why we're doing it, because we're only doing it so we don't have to say that we can get rid of you and I doesn't want to. We're all gonna be working together at the same time. I can't imagine it not going for it, but then it's possible.
Well, okay, and I had a motion from Bob,
I'll send it.
I had a second from David,
Oh, okay.
and then I'll take a vote.
Okay, everybody in favor, any more questions before we do it? John? You good?
This is the motion to move the date, the 3 months or whenever.
Just set it on, say, 3 months.
Aye.
Aye. In favor.
Aye.
I,
5-0.
And then we will need a second motion, there are no other comments approving the project manual in substantial form, so that can Ken,
I move to approve the project manual, the landscape services for the Heritage Isle CDD.
So,
I'll send
had a second from John.
any more discussion? Everybody in favor?
it. I,
Very good.
I actually think it'd be better for Juniper. That's why I said it.
I actually think it would be better for us to
It's
go
good. We're good. It's better for them.
by having one large contract instead of 2 split ones.
Well, it's still too complicated.
I understand that. I understand that technicality
Yeah.
of the boards and all of the rest of it.
Okay,
But
let's
it's,
go on to
I don't see any sense in making it harder on us as an HOA to have to do it.
I want the board to realize that there was some time spent figuring out what the budget figure was for 2027. Brian and I got on the board with them, and first estimate that came in was outrageous. So we were able to work that down, on this, so we've got the 27 budget already, finalized. Can't make any more changes to that, because we've all voted on it.
So if they agree to it, which I think they probably will, we'll figure out how to get those 3 months out of the budget this year. From somewhere, because you're right, you're right, I think the months, right? We have to borrow it, then pay it back once we do the next budget for the following year. We've done that before.
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Okay,
But
We already went over one way with Tigers. We need to do any more on that, can we go to Uber?
tab 4, let me just make sure. Oh, that was just their report in case you wanted to review it. All good.
Okay, Hoover. And address that.
Did everybody see the note where they want to do a service?
Okay, so, you know, we're paying for a maintenance contract for both pumps.
Right.
They come out, they check it, they make sure everything's working properly, just like they would do, come into your house and check your air conditioning. Or your heat, or whatever. So the last service report was, this month. Earlier this month. And they said to report to us. And we have a major problem. With the air conditioning unit on. It is not working. It is inoperable. Now, during the winter months, that's not a problem, because it's not hot. So now we're faced with, we have to replace that air conditioning unit, which is 10 grand. Okay, that's what this is all about. When this kind of thing comes in, we have to act on it as soon as possible. Because without putting this new air conditioning in to replace the one that's completely dead, the VFDs, the variable frequency drives, are gonna stop. The components in the pump itself, high-priced parts, they're gonna probably fry without that air conditioning. It's like your computer, you gotta keep it in a controlled environment.
Still a problem with the roof.
Yeah, but now we're 90 degrees here, so we gotta get this guy out here to put that in immediately.
How old is this?
Make a motion.
It's 8 years old.
Makes a motion.
Make a motion, let's go.
I agree.
Yeah,
What you say?
I don't think you need to convince us.
Okay,
Yeah, make a motion.
I move
I make a
that
motion.
this proposal be approved for mover to replace the air conditioning units on Southern Pump. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any more questions? Everyone in favor? Aye.
Can I include something of that motion? So there was two
No,
proposals.
it's late.
There was two proposals. Another one came in that was not on the agenda for proposal to replace two flanges with gaskets for $2,093.77. No, this one was the one we talked about this meeting.
Oh,
Yeah. Whoa. Proposal number SPN 105089 to be added to that motion.
I'll make
Okay.
it.
That's it, yeah.
Okay,
Or make a new motion, I don't care either.
I'll take it, yeah. So who made Joe made the second motion? Okay, seconded by John, Bob,
Gotta get one in there.
all right. And then I'll take votes on both. Motion number one, vote.
Aye.
Aye. And motion number two.
Aye.
Right, very good. I'm good.
Okay. Kyle, interrupt, anything's happening in this world politically?
Well, we're in a special session, obviously for the state budget passed. It's possible that something regarding, CDDs could get introduced, but at this time, I don't think we've seen anything in this session. In the previous session, there were a couple of items, that I think are gonna probably affect CDDs. One is, if it's signed by the governor, I'm not sure what the status on that is. I haven't seen any report that he signed the legislation, but, the district would need to implement a, online payment or electronic payment option for, fees, that sort of thing. I think we're still waiting to see how that's gonna be implemented, but we'll obviously, that's an industry-wide thing, so we'll be figuring out, coordinating with your district management companies to get that in place if and when necessary. The other large issue was a cap or a raise to the cap of the governmental tort limits. Really, if an individual sues the district, that number, the maximum amount they can sue for has gone up a little bit as well. And the third piece of legislation was if signed by the governor, would implement a recall process for CDD board members. It would be similar to the process similar would be really identical to the process that's already in place, for boards like the county commissioners, other governmental bodies. It's just being extended to, elected CDD members as well. So I don't really see any huge issues there, but just something to be aware of. But beyond that, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions if there are.
What's all?
That's out of my purview.
You want to remind everyone about Form 1, Brian, for June?
Form ones will be sent out by the supervisor of elections. If you haven't received it already, should be coming up and,
It's the financial form, right?
Right.
yeah, your
It's all going to be done online.
Yeah, that's all electronic then.
Yeah, no longer going down to the courthouse.
So yeah, check your emails. And then, and anybody running, I know qualifying period June 8th through 12th.
Do we have any elections?
Yeah, it's-
Yeah. Me,
3 seats.
Dave, and John.
Oh,
And I was going to make an announcement, I will not be running again. So,
health or you need time off?
Thank you for your service.
yeah, I'm just not gonna do it again.
Been a long time.
I appreciate everybody on the board. I'd be happy to continue to, just afraid I'm not going to be good enough and strong enough to really help out. So at this point, I think it's just wise for me to call it in. So that's all. But I did want to at least notify the board because I would like, I don't see, like to, I would not like to have an opening where there would be nobody running
Right.
Mhm.
for that position. And so
Like Joe said, that's your service. But you're not going
I
to be.
appreciate that, but it
Just
just,
not going to be.
what?
You'll be here till
I
November.
can't hear it.
You'll be here till November.
I understand that, and I'll do that.
Will you verify those forms are going to everybody?
So
It
they
goes
don't,
out from Tallahassee,
it comes out from the general supervisor of elections.
right?
So,
Not the local one, the Tallahassee one.
Form 1 is, and that's the, I believe that goes to the Commission on Ethics.
okay, okay.
It was done electronic.
Yeah, it's all electronic database these days.
Does that include our yearly educational?
Yes, there's a checkbox that you completed it last year. And then obviously the training for this year is due end of the year. But you'll be on your form, you'll be certified that you completed it for last year.
Okay.
I intend on running again.
Yay.
I'm not sure, but I'm going to be good next year.
Yeah,
I'm gonna run for the seat again in development point, which is.
Yeah.
But I was doing anything for the ethics thing.
it depends on when you were appointed, for last year. I believe, when did you come in again last year? It was towards the end.
Well, these are all the elections.
Yeah, but if it's after, I believe it's after May, you did not need to do the training. So I think you came in after that.
It's in the summer.
Yeah, so I don't think you're required to check that box.
All right, and those forms are online, you should fill out. So
For the Form 1 or to run again.
for both.
So Form 1 is through the Commission on Ethics. Brian and his team can get you set up on that if you haven't already. It's all electronic. You should already be in the database, so you believe you just go on the Commission on Ethics website and log in from there. As far as the running and registering for the seat to run, the qualifying period is June 8th through the 12th. You need to go down to the local supervisor of elections down here, and they will walk you through that process. During that timeframe.
In the past, was it you or Brian, or somebody's provided us with links to the free training that you can take?
I can send that
That
out.
would be nice.
Got it now, and I,
Supervisor elections and so forth.
It was right here in this government building.
Huh?
Right
Yeah,
here.
so you have to do it too?
Yeah.
I thought they moved everything over there.
No, the last time I ran,
You still,
I had one over there, right here.
yeah,
I thought they said they were closing that satellite office. No, they moved over to,
yeah, I mean, if you look up just the local supervisor of elections website, the information will be on there where you need to go. But yeah, as far as the links for the training, we don't know. I could.
they moved.
okay.
Just had that short.
Yeah.
You're up.
Get somebody in and if
Nothing major, that is fine, on the agenda later that we'll talk about, just want to remind everybody hurricane season is coming up, so just be aware of that when you put your, when you put your, landscape debris and stuff out on the curb, so to speak, for pickup, please use it to put it in the trash can, so it doesn't end up in the system.
Okay, so I had one question because I saw an email that somebody had written in about the roads being repaved and the CBD being part of that. I know you have done a report on the water. Do we have that obligation in that or not?
So I would defer that, question to Kyle. I don't know if that's my.
Wait, can you say that one more time? Just
So there was a note that I had on all the flooding down Panza, is that the area? Where the roads are flooded, maybe repaving or something?
No, so there was a settlement between the HOA of the Highland Board and, the developer, I think it was. And there was a determination made that there was some, roadways that had gotten wet, some cracking along those specific roadways, and I assume there was some settlement reached. In that report, there was a geotechnical report that provided some indications on improvements and what would be needed. The HIDA board asked me to provide them a general scope of, what that cost would be.
Sure.
And so we provided that just very generally in a kind of a PDF markup of what that looks like. And estimated what those costs are. The question, I think, is there's the paving and the roadways, which are HIDAs.
Sure.
There's the drainage system that is a CBD, and part of the solution outside of reducing the amount of irrigation that we run on a continual basis would be to put in under drains.
Mhm.
And so to improve the drainage system in certain areas to help facilitate the drainage of those roadways. And so the question is the CBD responsible for any cost sharing in that endeavor? And that's the question I don't know.
Yeah.
And then just to make sure that everyone else knows, HIDA's reached out to me to give them a proposal to actually come up with a real design for one of these specific roadways. And so I'm working on this point in time.
I mean, if it's linked in with the CDD's, drainage infrastructure, potentially, it really depends on how you categorize the under drainage. It sounds like it's below the road, below the roadway.
So yes, it will help facilitate the drainage of the roadway face itself,
Right.
to help make sure it pulls moisture out of it.
Yeah, I would say potentially if it's considered part of the CDD's drainage infrastructure, potentially, if it's
So it will tie,
considered part of the roadway,
right, so it ties into the CDD's drainage,
sure.
because that's the point of exit. But its functionality is to assist the roadway in its drainage.
I think we're probably gonna need to dig into it.
Sure.
Dig into it more.
So I'm happy to provide you kind of those maps and plans, maybe
Yeah.
set up a separate call to go through that and just talk you through it.
Yeah, let's.
I have not received that specific question. If I had, I would.
Sorry, listen, I gotta ask some question. These boards get over about right now. It doesn't really matter, the money's gonna come from us, gonna come from them, comes from them.
Right, it's gonna come on the road.
So it's just, it's a budget, that money's gotta be in.
Yeah, and it really, again, it's gonna depend on how those kind of under drains are classified.
But just in case I can ask that question, for the one to answer.
Yeah, well, we'll get together, we're gonna call and we'll work through it.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Quick question, is it similar to the fact that we have drainage that goes into our main system on lots? And this is just almost the same thing, except for it's under a road, so all those other things connect to, but they're not ours, they're in the lot, so this would be under a road connected to. Seems like it's extremely similar,
I could see that analogy making sense, yeah.
okay.
You're talking about like a downspout and,
Yeah,
drain.
That it's going to always connect to the main system, which is
Yeah,
ours.
it's really, I mean, at some point, every.
Location seems to be the key, location.
I believe this was.
Yeah, the building feature on the pavement our roads here is actually gonna be a substantial undertaking.
Yeah,
And the objective is, basically Bob said, at the end of the day, it's the residents can pay for it. But it's gonna require coordination, I think. between CDD and district with slight irrigation, as regardless. But the key thing is like with the irrigation, you don't want to replace the capital too soon.
Sure.
So there's a sense of urgency on what's happening on the home side with the roads to gates committee. But there are meetings are done today, we need a plan. But we don't need to do it now. We've got one section that maybe is getting bad, that's it.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to going to be this too quick, but we need to know when we do it. How we're gonna do it, right, we're a good vendor that's very professional, like that one with landscape and Disney. Yeah, they're gonna be able to do it at a much lower cost. Someone else, because that's what they need from us.
Sure.
But we're getting the urgency of the investigations, they think that this is like, has to be done now. But there is one section that is being guided, that's the word.
Okay. I think it was be 5 minutes off, we take 5 minute break here.
Sure.
Yeah. Other Consideration of the minutes. You always find a word in there. You're good?
I'm okay with the minutes. I went through them and didn't see any.
I found a couple, sorry.
Yeah, I've got it.
Joe is the one that comes up with a,
All right, Joe, go on first.
Real simple, line 81. It says member, I think it's supposed to have an S for members of the board. It wasn't a single member. And line 92, it says Juniper moving, I think it means mowing. I think it was a typographical. That's it.
Line 92,
Under the fourth order, we have a Mr. Saunders and a Miss McGee.
Oh,
I think it
There
should
is a
be
Mr.
a
Saunders.
Miss Saunders and a Miss McGee.
that sounds
I missed that.
It
But
wasn't
Mrs. Saunders, well, she wants her name written down, but it's, right now, she's a Mr.
fourth order.
well, my
No second change.
husband might even.
Nice catch.
So that's a typo.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
we made some revisions, but they weren't on the agenda. I caught that one myself, actually. Fourth order.
yep,
Yeah, Miss Saunders, Mr. Mendez, Mr. Fisher. And then line 81.
Yeah, 81 with an S on member.
Yeah, let me.
Ken, you already went over the Juniper items before?
yeah, I touched on some of those, yeah, they're all basically, they're all approved.
The other question I had was, it said that we tabled the alligator signs. I do remember them bringing it, brought up. I remember us not liking them. They were too big with too much information. I remember us saying we were going to check the location or move one. But I don't believe that the subject of having new or more signs was tabled. I believe it just wasn't moved to go forward.
Is it on here?
and there is the one lake,
The
the
one,
pond where a sign is missing.
Yeah.
Well, that one, yeah,
That needed to be done.
yeah, that was the only thing that was done, but we didn't table the issue.
Right,
We just,
you just didn't vote on it.
we didn't vote, we didn't
kind
do
of
it.
fudged through it.
We let it go away.
Sorry, Joe, what is it?
I don't know where it is in there, but there was an alligator that said that we were tabled the signs. We did not. We just didn't move to approve the new signs at all.
No, that's, description, tabling just means you didn't make any decisions, so for
I thought
further.
it meant that it would have to be brought up again.
Yeah, so you would let me know, are we bringing this up again?
I thought we were gonna go ahead and buy a number of signs as needed and replace. You know, it's almost a maintenance item.
Well, at the end of this meeting, I have something to say about it anyway, so.
So no,
But the sign that we had that was brought up was pretty wordy and a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
it was extremely pretty.
Wordy but it did have a no fishing, which is what some of the people want.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to
And the
discuss
alligator
later.
Sign, so.
so we want more signs?
Well, I do remember,
Well, I think
there
we
was
need
a
to-
complaint from a homeowner that said that he or she, I forget who it was, said they didn't have a sign by their pond and kids are going over there and they're fishing.
that was me. That's what I said at the last meeting.
Right.
And at that point, I asked what we were going to do. And I think you had a new sign proposed that did have fishing on it. And you were aware of that sign missing
The one sign.
at the end of the lake. And so I thought it was going to get taken care of as regular maintenance, but if we need to make a motion or whatever,
Well,
probably buy a few and have some of them done. I don't know who does that. I mean,
Didn't we have some signs left over?
No, we had golf cart signs that we lost. So for pond signs, we didn't approve the quote from the last meeting, so to clarify. Do we want 5? Do we want 10? Do we want to visit the map
or no.
or none?
I mean, one issue, I spoke to Kyle briefly before the meeting, and we all know that the district association removed the signs that said that you couldn't have concealed weapons. And they did that because their attorney advised them that if you put up a sign like that, you have to enforce it. If you're not enforcing it, you're actually more liable for the fact that you had a policy and you did nothing about it. So when I heard that, I thought, we're doing the same things with these no fishing signs. To warn there's an alligator, sure. If we say no fishing, but we're not enforcing it and we're not stopping it, and then someone does fishing and something happens, we're probably more liable for not administering the policy in any form. So my suggestion would be that as these signs get lost or deteriorated, if you still feel we need to say there's alligators, nothing wrong with that. It's not a policy. You're not telling people they can't do something. You're just warning them alligators. But I wouldn't have any of that other information on there saying no fishing unless we're going to come up with a way to enforce it. What do you think, David?
I have to say, we can't enforce anything. We have no enforcement authority at all.
I know, I would like to hear.
So therefore, but
I mean, if
we
it's in
are,
here,
I believe we are.
no, sorry, I was just saying, if it's in your amendment policies, then, I mean, the enforcement would be, you know, an amenity suspension or something like that. You know, whether or not it is, would be another question. But
CDD doesn't have any amenities to offer.
that's right.
But I think a no fishing sign doesn't require no fishing police.
Dave,
It's just a sign that there is no fishing in these ponds. Now, whether any people obeys it, that probably is up to the sheriff's department.
Sure.
And if somebody doesn't like it, they should call the sheriff.
I'd like to hear what David got for information on something like that.
I don't know if this is saying or not, though, this was the advice from the Hyatt law firm that related to firearms.
Well, then, I mean,
There
there's
was
this,
the second amendment, it was in Florida, I think it was based on some cases that were heard and litigated, but he just told us, or hindsight, is to only the firearms unless you had a TSA type setup, if you were monitoring weapons going in, you're needing, I don't want an expectation that this is a gun-free case, if it's not. Because you could carry this in your hand and carry all the time, so we told us that allow firearms to in the clubhouse.
and I believe there was some recent statutory changes as well, expanding on where you can carry, so. Those signs may have been no longer in compliance with the statute, would be my guess. Really, you know, as far as I can see, you know, if you're not enforcing the signage, I can see an instance where, you know, if something happened, perhaps there's liability there. Really, I think it might be a question for your insurance carrier, you know, what they see the breakdown of having, you know, no fishing versus just leaving it silent. Because it's gonna be an insurance claim if anything happens either way.
So if we put a sign up and we don't have the authority to designate anyone to enforce them. I've noticed lately, all these kids from across the street are coming here and they're fishing off the bridge in the front.
Mhm.
So they're not actually coming in, but we own the bridge.
Sure, and I mean, you have,
So
it's.
there have instances that with the police have been called in,
Sure,
okay, they've been asked to leave.
I mean, if they're asked to leave, you know, at that point, if it's a district bridge, potentially trespassing, I mean, it's.
But it doesn't have to happen every time there's somebody out there.
To do,
Call the police and ask them to leave. But if they get hurt, you don't call the police, I guess that's the question.
I mean, I think we're probably talking about some pretty low, you know, probability cases, you know, if there's
Sure.
you know, plunging a fishing bowl over. So again, I'd probably just defer to your insurance carrier. Because
Okay.
it's going to be an insurance claim if somebody is injured fishing. You know, whatever the insurance carrier thinks would have less liability on their end. You know, for signage versus no signage, they'll have an opinion on it. They insure and run into issues like this.
That's 21 years in existence, we just discussed this.
Yeah,
Well, that's been discussed.
I know.
well, I always assumed this was no fishing in every community, in every pond, and I found out that wasn't true. that my great nephews in their community over.
So here's what the police
They
told me.
pitch all the time.
Here's what the police told me, okay? Do you own the property behind your house? And yes, I do, city position. Well, the water's not really my property, but they're not going to enforce anything, so
So I,
that's the point. But that's a good idea, since the issue came up. Do you want to call the agent and find out?
Yep, I'll send them an email.
Uh,
You'd be looking for a motion to approve your, meeting minutes in substantial form.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
I,
Do we need to ratify the junior stuff, or Ken is actually gone over that, we're looking for?
You do need to ratify, yes.
Ken, you want to make a motion or bring up whatever else you need on that?
I move to, approve
Maintenance
the
expenditures.
the ratification items, listed.
This is item B, tab 8, your maintenance expenditures for month of February and March.
Wait a minute, did we jump down to the business items?
We're doing,
What are we doing?
So we just went from meeting
I know
minutes?
when you approve both of them.
No, I didn't get a motion.
Make a motion of ratification of operations,
Okay.
February 1.
Motion from Bob,
I'll make a motion.
second,
Second.
second from John. Vote.
I,
Move that we approve the, ratification of the Juniper items listed below.
And the Drews.
And the Drews, yes.
All right, motion from Ken,
I'll second.
second from Joe.
Everyone in favor?
I,
Okay, now this is when you and I get the floor.
But one other thing, just want the board to understand that we did have these things approved. But what we do, Brian and I sit down, we always make sure that we always have adequate funds to pay for this stuff. So we do that as part of our process, okay? I just wanted you guys to be aware that that's what we do. Okay?
Okay, next item on the agenda is consideration of the bridge repairs, which isn't written on there, but we didn't want to take it and do it in the ponds because we're taking too much time. So Ann and I were out here last week and we met with, the CBS company, Sunshine was not able to make a meeting, so we didn't meet with them. And pretty much we came up with, showing some booklets of ideas, but pretty much came up and decided on going what we kind of have now, which is the rustic look. Versus putting in wiring, which is a more modernized look. The price we were already given last week, we were waiting for an updated price because what we try to do is keep everybody happy. The problem with the bridges and they break is because golf carts fall more than anything else. Originally, it was okay for golf carts because that's why they were made wider set up that way. So the vendor came up and gave us a way of, making it applicable where the golf carts can go over it. And by doing that, he shortened, the wood or composite at this point. So every piece of composite going in will be 12 inches apart instead of 16 or 18.
Closer.
Yeah, so it will be strong enough for the golf carts to go over without breaking. However, we will need some signs.
I love that.
That are gonna say, slow the hell down if you want to stop, you know? So, but it will not break the boards, it will not break the composites. But it will cost a few $1,000s to us, so bringing it up to the board, I would make the decision that there are enough people in here who use golf carts at this point. And it's quite a ways to make them to go all the way to Legacy, especially the ones that live here for a while. And we can negotiate the price on it, but it is more labor involved, and it's not more materials involved. So we'll probably bring it from that 170 number that we originally had to between 180 and 185, which I think is negotiable. And so we can bring it back down again, but when I make the motion, I want everyone to have their voice whether they want to make it a golf friendly or not.
Are those, does that mean the deck boards, the actual flooring, if you will, on the deck that retracts or some variation?
Trex is the one to go with, is the most well known, they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
They all have the same warranty.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, the difference is gonna be that on center, it's gonna be 12 inches going across rather than 16. So that's gonna involve use of and more labor to put it down, and that's what we have to money.
But it'll be stronger
Yes,
and probably, yeah, and
so, again, it's, I think we ought to accommodate the golf carts for that little bit of money. Everyone's supposed to have a problem, this way we'll eliminate that problem in the future, because it won't break based on that. Probably could have done with wood, I guess, years ago, too, 12 inch on center.
Well, the difference is golf carts in yesteryear, when the community was still meant like a battery operated golf cart, right? Like it's not what we call now is a low speed vehicle where it's raised up, it's got
Yeah.
special lighting, they can go 35 miles an hour. Golf carts used to sort of have a top speed of 115. So the difference is the accommodation would be for today's golf cart or low speed vehicle.
So we call track cars now, we don't call golf carts out there, because they speed across them crazy, like 40 inch wheels, instead of just 4 wheels. But, I think it's worth it to keep the community complacent and happy about doing that.
we could go ahead and make the bridges golf cart acceptable, because I think it'll help the wear and tear of the bridges over time. But not bother to make a big deal about suddenly making the bridges available.
No, we won't put it that way.
I think car traffic being kept low on the bridges
Which is,
is not a bad thing.
right. We'll put out a name last, we will put out something. Let's say slow down the bridges 5 miles an hour, or whatever we come up with, that's state police. And tell them that one way or another, we're gonna ask everyone who lives around us to try to enforce it. We're spending all this money to redo it, we don't wanna have to do it again. And put the onus on the residents to do it. The other thing that we did is we came up with some colors. Do you have the, so
You have the
this bid that we got is not gonna replace all the 4x4s, because they don't all need replaced. We are included in the price, I think it's around 10 or so.
If there are 10 replacement posts in
Right.
case they're needed, if they're not, you're getting rid of that.
This is the top store we're gonna put on it, this creates
On the post.
on posts. So even the ones that are in the 4x4 posts that you walk
Yeah.
across. However, it will have composite onto my head going across, so we'll be strengthening it. I don't know how to handle this, Kyle, if you can help me, this is not gonna help. Anything we're gonna put on it is not gonna help. Now, some people like to stop and gaze on the room. I don't know how to handle this. Is there a way that it's been happening in the past where somebody's suing because they put their hand on top or something? Or just forget about it?
I mean. Yeah, if they're in here, there's always gonna be, that's why I guess we're talking house, obviously that should be manufactured within its specifications that it's.
And anything that we can put on there other than replacing every single post and not putting anything to protect it is gonna be. Whether it's plastic, whether it's metal,
What is that, metal?
yeah, the plastic will not decompose too fast.
I mean, it'll be warm. You're sitting in the sun all day.
But I guess we'll have to handle it on a case by case basis.
So,
Yeah, I mean, right.
No,
Obviously, I mean, those are, should be manufactured, out of material that, the district is would first.
so aluminum.
Yeah, but with the expectation that, it's,
It's gonna be hot, but not enough to burn.
it's been manufactured on top of
So I didn't know how to handle that, I wanted to bring that up to the board, because I didn't know we were out there for almost 2 hours. Very, very detailed, everything we went over to know what we're actually getting and so forth. So that's one issue that came up. The planting is another issue, we're going to composite, we're not gonna go with the PVC. PVC was more money, it looks better than I thought it would look, the PVC, but it's not worth the extra money because we don't need a 50-year warranty. The warranty is based this way, when it is commercial, it's 10 years, when it's residential, it's 25, I think you said. L 30. But he feels that based on the travel we have on here, it's gonna be handled as if it was residential and not commercial, but he can't sell it to us other than commercial. Let's sort it that way. So it'll be a 10-year warranty, but it'll probably less than 20 years. But we don't need to worry about redoing that again. Repairs to repairs, but it doesn't make issue based on what we're doing. So the potties that are in the water are still fine. We don't have to replace those, the whatever size spindles will all be taken care of. And with the new stuff, we came up with doing a clear coat.
That was one of the options, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do a
so-
clear, sealant stain, if you will.
So standard with clear coat for weather purposes, new purposes. May not match completely, but it'll be as close as we can get, and it'll all look brand new.
Rustic look.
That's the look I want to keep. We can go with the modern look, show you the pamphlets.
So the modern look
You guys
is the
just-
horizontal cable rail. There's usually about 7 of them that still have the same spacing and corner spacing requirements that your vertical pickets do. They have them horizontal as well.
We can go with that.
It's just it's just a different look. It's more modern.
Okay, what is that called?
That's steel,
It's your horizontal cable rail.
Okay.
and the one we have now, he doesn't even have a template on because nobody does them anymore. They do bigger ones like that. But ours is too big to really do that, we need our support. So we better replicate what we have now,
I mean, it sounds good to me.
and it'll be between, I believe that, that's what I said, the 170 and 185. I will ask for permission to go 185, I don't know about what we had before, but between now and I think we can negotiate that down. And they will plan to see.
Yeah, about the only thing I want to point out is remember the bridge, excuse me. The bridge approaches are not included and the bridge approach is not included in that bridge pricing. So I'm going to put together like a detail manual for that, and so there'll be a separate cost associated with that. Perfect.
So what we're gonna try to do, which is gonna be a separate thing, because it's not doing so, they're trying to put fresh drains in at the edge, so when they come off, they don't break the concrete. And it's straight out, and you can make it much more even with 2 more pieces of decking that's gonna come out with. Since it was really new stuff, and his family owns the company, so if we have any changes in between, he's not gonna need to call anybody. But to Aaron, and he tried to add things that would cost us any money.
Well,
I don't want to spend any more time asking questions or about really sunshine. I'm able to understand everything they wrote on there now because of all we know over the can. There are a few differences, but those differences are not what we need. We don't have to change every post.
No, that's fair.
Okay, so that was the basic difference in price. She did redo it where we found the error of the $40,000, so the price came up where they were 220 instead of 170. And, so I would like to make a motion that we go with CBS and do it at 185. To give us a little leeway, is that enough, Ann?
I think it's about.
Probably 3,000.
I don't think so. I think the other question is, are we, going to move forward with the revised spacing to allow little vehicle, listed vehicles to cross, or we can keep it as it currently is?
Yeah, well, that's why we went up on the price. Okay, otherwise I would have done 170. So, is everybody in agreement going? Okay, that's the question. First, second.
So motion by Bob,
I'll first go over.
second by Dave.
Okay,
seconded by Dave,
we got a second.
and then a vote.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
I want to commend Ann on coming out and spending all that time with us. I didn't know how what she was until after we were done.
Appreciate that.
Did you bring the piece with you?
So he didn't give me the piece number, it was in that same. He did it, but he asked for it back. It was in like his suitcase of, samples, so I don't have that, but the color, honestly, it's very similar to the wood that's there. We were able to lay it down, so that's it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty
It is
consistent.
much bigger and better than I thought. It is a cheaper version of it,
Yes.
but that was really residential. Where it's like wood, we can put columns in the inside of it, so it's really half the material. That's not gonna last here.
Correct.
So,
I'm not sure if the sample color is in those brochures, unfortunately, but it was called malted barley. But it's a very, it looks very similar to the wood that's out there right now. And that's sort of weathered. I trust this big. Yeah, and those black post tops sort of pull it with and pull some of the darker color out of the. I don't think it's in here.
It sounds like for the difference in cost, we should get a longer life and probably come out ahead.
I agree.
Because we had to do this not that many years ago.
I know,
12
I
years
wish
ago.
we'd just composite.
So hopefully this
But it is.
pushed it.
The project stood by itself. The thing that I'm worried about is bringing up the discussion about putting up signs.
I don't think we need any signs.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't need
I
any
mean,
signs.
the last time we did signs, we had a heat.
Exactly.
So it sounds like
We don't want to be doing that.
To me, you're gonna bring more attention, first of all, which you said you didn't want to do.
I'll
And
put the
secondly,
signs up.
there's a law that says what the speed is.
You know what I'm saying? I'm worried about it.
Sidewalk. So leave it alone.
But we have, yeah, but even if you put a speed limit sign, we have no enforcement.
Exactly. So just leave it alone.
You know what, you're right, we don't have any enforcement, but we don't want to spend $780,000.
We don't want any
And
signs.
that would constantly breaks the question. There's no other reason for it.
Right.
Okay, kind of want to put a letter out, appeal to everyone who lives here, to be cognizant of the fact that we're spending so much money to redo it, and that we need them to enforce themselves.
They need lights.
Slow down, but anyways,
And then send it out recurring.
right. Once we've done construction,
Right.
okay, and let everyone know this, costs a whole lot of money to replace these bridges. Main reason is all the years, not just wear and tear, but some golf carts for new.
So what's the performance time for this?
I think he said 2 to 4 weeks in the summer. We need money around the test, but he was pretty. And he said it would only take about 2 to 4 weeks. Just to be.
He was gonna be very quick. So what I need to do is be able to coordinate his work
Right,
with the construction of that Brinley. So I
Right.
spoke to
is
that
that the
contractor.
language we needed on, or we needed on all of them?
I think we should look at all of them.
Okay.
Honestly, and if you're gonna do it, let's do it.
right.
And I can have them come out and look at it. If there are areas that we feel don't need it right now, great. But let's look and see if we do, and then we can handle it at that point in time. I'll try and get him scheduled to come out. I shared if we need to start the first job. So I'll see if he can come out later this week or early next to take a look at it.
This motion, or we could put that into repairs or something.
Sorry, Bob.
That would be a separate motion, but we'll put that into repairs. So it won't be part of the structure action,
Yeah,
because it's gonna be on the sidewalk.
okay. You want to do a separate motion? On,
Yeah, that would be, he's not gonna be doing it, that's a company gonna do it. But he will do the jams and the wood to go into it, so it won't be.
okay. Do you guys have a dollar amount in mind?
I don't, I haven't, he hasn't seen it yet.
So do you want to use your approved spending authority and then ratify it the following?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be that high, I think.
When we pick in this job, which we just did, we need to let Chris know about the irrigation. We have irrigation lines that run very close to those bridges. You know, so if they're gonna be doing anything on the entrances for it, they may wind up having to do something with the irrigation.
That's correct. Well, we'll want to coordinate with them and make sure that
Yes.
the areas are turned off or take that opportunity to make it separate.
Need to let Chris know.
You know, it's probably Christian, not one that drove.
Stacy.
It's the area. Okay. Going on,
Well, really quick, we seem to have skipped over the no fishing alligator sign.
well,
And I never heard any decision from the board about that particular sign being used.
If it
So I'm just curious, are we,
I thought we were gonna check with the insurance.
That's the follow-up action item. We
Yeah,
gotta-
once we know that, we can go back to the con. You know, if the person is the problem, and we have liability because of enforcement. But no issue. The thing I don't mind is these kids coming over with their equipment and everything, sitting right in the middle of that picture.
Well, the thing that bothered me a couple of years ago, on a weekend, there was somebody fishing over here by the south pump. And a couple walked by, told the guy, fishing was not allowed in these ponds. So this guy started dropping F-bombs on him. And they came to the clubhouse and reported it. Okay? The problem with that is, I mean, what if that guy had a gun? So,
It's at their own risk, I
I
mean,
mean,
leave it alone.
it could get nasty.
It's the world we live in.
And I don't even know if the guy was a resident here. He might have just walked in here and put a line in the water and fishing.
And I see my neighbor with his grandsons that come and they fish all the time, and it's been happening for the 20 years I've been there, and the kids enjoy fishing. They know it's at their own risk.
It's like, that same problem, I tell him, can you read? And he said, yes, I can see what that's, I said, you know, fishing, why are you fishing in front of the sun? Go on.
Like I said, I'm not gonna confront anybody.
But, that's fine.
Okay.
What are my ability? And you know what? That guy should just call the council and say, where to those things.
And
That's the easiest way to get it.
That's it right there.
Yep.
Okay,
What do we got now?
we got, consideration of resolution, reappointing an assistant treasurer.
Tab 12, that's right. This is an administrative cleanup on Rosetta's end, so we put this in all of our agendas. Sean Wildermuth has retired with the company, so Susan Garcia is being appointed the assistant treasurer. You're looking for a motion to adopt resolution 2026-03 when ready.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-03.
Well, we'll call it three because B became the bridge.
That's right.
All right. I'll
Second.
second that.
Second from John. Vote.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Consideration of adopting the budget.
Yes, so our office, in our current fiscal year, noticed that there was a discrepancy with the way that the budget had been coded. This is, to the point of the conversation, there's, some lots within, Heritage Isle that receive a different portion of assessments for storm drains. So we caught that, we made the revision, it didn't impact your, what we collected in assessments, it was just an administrative cleanup. We sent that notice to our legal team, who put forth the amended budget as seen in this, agenda. And then Kyle, if you have any additional comments.
No, I mean, when you adopt your budget, you do have, in the resolution to adopt your budget for the fiscal year, there is language in there, allowing for amendments for cleanup items like this. So it happens. It's a pretty standard thing. This is just our standard amendment resolution that we use in situations like this.
Did it affect the assessment calculation?
It did not. It did not. It did not. Yeah. This was, just repurposing how, the assessments were being levied.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be looking for a motion to, yeah, adopt resolution 2026-04. Okay. Motion from John,
Second.
second from David. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
5-0 vote.
Okay.
Supervisor comments, let's start with John.
Got one more.
No, we have one more to do.
Yeah. Resolution 2026-05.
To see, sorry.
This is the revised rules and procedures.
So this is just a revision of the rules procedure that we're rolling out in all of our districts. There have been a couple of statutory changes in the past section or two, most notably timeline for the publication of rulemaking notices has shifted to what it was. It's a longer process now. So really these revisions are just updating your rules of procedure to be statutory compliant with the new statutes. So there's very many changes in it. It's just what's statutory mandated at this point. So we do need to set a public hearing on it though, which I think we'd have to go at the next meeting.
July.
Yeah,
I have a quick question.
sure.
It said that we make rules, but since I don't know how to make resolutions. So since that word was not used anywhere in the document, So but it told you what you had to do when you make a rule and all the timeframes and what notifications and
Yeah,
documentation. And so does that apply to all the resolution?
no,
What's the difference? Just,
a rule is, usually it's more for if you have an amenity center where you're setting, amenity fees. But anything involving, if you're involving a fee, that would need to go through the rulemaking process if it's a new fee or if you're raising a fee. This is just standard language that we use for all of our districts. So it's statutory coverage. Everything in here is, you have the statutory references in there. It's just based on
did
statute.
all of our resolutions be published somewhere?
They are published on I think they're the agenda on the website.
The agenda, so the person would have to look through past agendas to find any resolutions and know what's current and what's not.
Yeah, I mean, they are public records.
Okay.
Somebody can request a resolution, but
So you'd be looking for a motion to adopt resolution 2026-05 and setting your public hearing for your July 2026 meeting. Motion.
And I said so moved.
Yep. Good. Second from Bob. All in favor? Opposed, 0. And then for supervisor comments, we skipped through district management, so I'll make it quick. I just have to notate for the record, your voter count as of April. Bear with me. As of April 1st, 2026, you have 2,344 registered voters within Viera CDD. And then your Q1 website audit on tab 6. Nothing else for me.
I'm gonna have to be back on this for just a second. I failed to mention, I think I mentioned it earlier, but our office is gonna be moving and relocating, probably the end of August, early September to 215 Bay Tree Drive, so much closer to you guys. The records and so on will come with me. Currently, they're in my office at 312 South Harvard City Boulevard in Melbourne. But we'll relocate. Brian, I'll make sure that I get that address and information to you. And then when we have our grand opening, I would, hope to see all your places there. I'll have a party sometime in fall when it's not so hot.
Good, I'll be back.
once that does take place, we'll need a resolution to redesignate the location for
Okay.
record to the local repositories in your office.
Okay, so if we are meeting in August, we normally would meet in September. Are we meeting in October then? So it'd be July or October that meeting, or do you need a resolution in July?
If you haven't moved yet,
We aren't moving, we're not scheduled to move until like the end of August. Fine, okay.
we can read it. I mean, we've read it in the minutes and
Sure.
it's in the public record. We can make sure to make that distinction in
Very good.
July meeting as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Joe, got anything?
Yes.
Jordan?
The homeowner brought to my attention that we have some benches that we basically lacking on Legacy. And so I went down Legacy to find out, and it turns out when you first come in the gate, Galindo Circle is a very large, long distance from the beginning of Galindo Circle to where Galindo Circle comes out again, and there is no bench there, where there is throughout the community until you get to LeConte and Quint, and again, it's a very long stretch, there is no bench. And we know what happened with the enhancement at the end of the pond, which I don't know the pond number for behind my house. But the pond is between Quaint and Balboa, where we started an enhancement project.
Yeah.
I would like to also suggest that we add a bench there, that is, and two shade trees to go with the bench. But that is a beautiful look of a long lake with the pedestrian bridge, and it's where the sunset goes down every night. And I think it would really enhance the community to do more than we did over there, as we know we stopped, so it's still just barren in the middle. So 3 benches and 2 shade trees, so I'd like to know how I would go about getting the board to approve that.
A not to exceed amount, and then you would, work with us to oversee the locations that you want the benches and get a
I was
contract.
just talking a bench and 2 shade trees,
No, 3 benches total,
3 benches.
2 on Legacy, where there's lacking and they should have a bench, and then the 1 with the shade trees, and I have no idea what a shade tree would cost me, you give me an idea of what I should say for not to exceed.
Depends on what kind of tree it is.
Well, I think we can hold off on the tree until we know what kind of trees are suggested, and then it's like make a motion to put in 3 benches at those locations mentioned, and amount not to exceed $1,500.
We're not making this motion, we usually.
No, she made a motion. I have to, if she makes a motion, I have to take.
We don't need to do that.
Okay,
I look at the same thing. And if you look at how it's laid out, it actually doesn't start. It starts in the corner of Frank Jameson and goes up a ways, and then there's a bench. And then the second mound, so it's not always in between the 2 openings and 2 streets.
No, I think I stretched it a little bit.
Stay around the distance. It might need 1, but we don't need 2 of that. And I hardly ever see anybody sitting on it to begin. Now, as far as going to the water, I haven't looked at that side.
Yeah, that's wide open, and I think a bench would be very appropriate over there.
Can you tell me where that finished on the lake is that you're talking about?
I did check the stretches, and it was brought my attention by a person that walks, that said I can no longer walk between Levante and Quince. So I knew that stretch was very rare, and then I looked to see if there was another, and it's a long distance between the lake. So if you have a certain amount of distance, I think we need to check that, because I don't think it's being adhered to.
Can we revisit it for July?
Yes. But I mean, can I amend the motion then to just?
We just say,
Okay.
we just say,
I'd like to get it done.
you know, you want it anyway, say it within.
so, because she made a motion, it's okay for the motion to fail, but now that the motion's been made, I need to go through the process of the motion, so I have to ask if there's a second to that motion.
But
Is
the
there,
motion was for the 3 benches.
so the 3 benches at $1,500, that's right, so do we have a second to that motion? Here's
Second for discussion.
Second, from David. And then I will now take a vote, all in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, section 4 discussion.
Discussion. So now it's open for the supervisors to have discussion. They're for the motion, against the motion. She made the motion, so she can speak first on the motion. And then anybody else can speak. So
So the first thing I'll say, well, basically I already said, which was I checked the distance. I down and looked, very long stretch with no bench. Then after you go past the window, then you have the Savoy area, there's a bench, you have the, before the clubhouse, after the clubhouse, then you come to the content. Nothing all the way to Quink, which is a very long stretch. And then after Quink, there's another bench before the back gate. So there's just 2 very barren areas that the walkers, and it was brought my attention by a person who walks. That says I can no longer walk that route because there is no bench. And of course, the 3rd bench is for the aesthetics of the pond and the sunset, and I think it would just be a nice enhancement. I don't know the number of the pond. It's
Where it's between.
Between Balboa.
on the Camberley side.
Any other comments?
Anyone else?
Hearing none?
I looked at the same distance, been here for 15 years, and no one has complained about needing another bench out there. I don't see the reason for it. They are equal space, it is a little bit of a difference there, but these are full sidewalks, most for walkers. I just don't see them. They have been talking in the park, people stop in the park all the time, they want this to the park. But I don't think we need another one, but it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody second, David second, I have a vote.
Vote. Yes.
Joe, that's a yes.
Yes.
All in favor?
say yes.
Say no.
I'm gonna say no, because I think the only one that's needed is the one over there behind your house on the pond, because there's nothing over there at all.
No, it's not, it's barren.
Okay.
I have absolutely no opinion. I'm sorry, but I don't know that particular area. I would look at it and also ask, is there a dog waste station? And is there a need for one? But unfortunately, there are so many home lots along that stretch That I don't wanna put a dog station near any of them.
There's no dog station in there.
We're
Yeah,
so.
so
That's
And I didn't wanna go into that.
Okay, so
We need a vote from you though, yay or nay.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I'll go yay,
All right,
because the benches are not a negative thing.
so we had, in favor Joe, David and John, not in favor, we had Supervisor Goldstein and Walter, motion passes.
Thank you. Yeah, that's again, just for that. So then between the concrete plant, and where was the second one on legacy?
It's in the middle of Galindo Circle, comes in and out, you know, on
Oh, so
like,
between the window.
so it's
Circle.
between
Okay.
the two
Yep.
Galindos. And then the next is between LeConte and Quinn.
it's
Midway.
windows on the opposite side,
Yeah.
benches are on this side.
Joe, I'll need a word to you, so if you can help me on screenshot of a map, and then we'll get a contract.
I don't think 1,500 is enough, you know, concrete work.
Yeah.
They gotta be on a concrete pad.
We might run into
It's 300, I thought I asked.
it's just for the benches, but then you got labor and,
You didn't tell me that part.
You got the pattern. So there should be. I'm a little back in but I think we have a bench located in exhibit, so we did this at one point in time, and then the reason I was asking is trying to test me, but there have been benches that have been put in and taken out, then put back in, because you want them taken out, it's inside the house, they're been like one of that.
They were blocking a view of a person by the pond, I remember, in that section.
So we put a cross in there for 1,500 and we have to redo it and pass it on you.
Are there any lot or homeowners that are gonna be
Yeah.
affected by having that bench
No, it's all.
near them, or is it by itself?
It's all by itself.
It's all the high shrubs there, see?
Okay, just because otherwise.
So. So we're gonna add 1,500,
Right.
so we're gonna 1,500 plus that.
So now can I make a motion for concrete to those benches?
You
And the
could,
price not to exceed
yeah,
1,500?
there you go, okay, so we have a motion from Joe. Do I have a second?
So what do we have now, 3,000?
3,000 not to exceed.
How much does the bench stand?
I was, you said, how much time did it see? 3,000 total?
Well, now it's 3,000.
For the whole project.
Each bench, the last time we bought a bench at Home Depot, that's when we installed at the front park, it cost us roughly $300.
So in other words, my first motion said higher, a lot higher than it needed to be. It only needed to be 900, but I made it for 15.
Well, why don't you just make the whole project not to exceed 3,000 or whatever,
That's what I'd like to do.
something like that.
Well, that's- We'll just take, so Joe made a motion of not to exceed for 1,500 for the additional concrete pad and labor.
I'll make a second amending it to 3,000.
Okay. Okay,
So we'll also need to coordinate with Chris because the irrigation, and like, especially along legacy, when there's not a lot of flat areas there, so we'll be going to work that'll need to occur with that, and just make sure that it's not causing a drainage issue or that we're impacting the landscaping or irrigation. Not so much a concern along that Aldoa Kimberly area, it's pretty open right there, shouldn't be as challenging.
okay.
It
Three.
shouldn't really be an issue on legacy with irrigation, that irrigation line is not next to the sidewalk,
Take it over.
it shouldn't be an issue there.
And
I'll get with you to discuss types
if the
of trees.
board
Stick in here?
would like to continue
I'm not taking
conversation, let me know when you're ready to
Just a
go.
bench.
Call the vote now.
All right,
All vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, very good. Super.
Dave, any comments? I don't have any comments. Dan,
I think I had enough comments.
I think so too.
Okay.
John, no comments? All right. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
All right, adjourn. Thank you, everybody.
All right, everybody on the call, thank you so much.